Democrats ought to get off their moral high horses, or they're going to get bucked right off. For it is immoral to condemn and judge a man who, like all of us, is flawed, but who gave up a really cushy life to fight hard every day for prosperity and security for all Americans. And he's done more for the cause of life than any president in my lifetime, and I worked for Ronald Reagan. This record of Trump's is stunning, even with all the wrenches that the Democrats have tried to jam into his spokes. So pull the numerous planks out of your own eye, Joe, before you start condemning others as immoral for political gain. And that's the angle. All right, joining me now with reaction to this and a lot more, Matt Schlapp, chairman of the American Conservative Union, Richard Goodstein, former Clinton aide, and Charlie Kirk, founder and president of Turning Point USA. He's also the host of the Charlie Kirk Show, launching tomorrow, yay, on Podcast One, a colleague there of mine, where you can also catch new episodes, of course, of my podcast. New one dropped today. All right, Matt, are voters really to believe this Democratic morality masquerade?
No, because really they're talking morality because they can't take Trump on his policies. Look specifically at Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania shed manufacturing jobs under Obama. They're picking up those manufacturing jobs under Donald Trump. Look specifically at trade and immigration. Popular issues with these swing voters in Pennsylvania. The reason why they're turning to morality is because they can't beat him on the policy.
Richard.
If the economy was so good, why is Trump's popularity in the high 30s or low 40s?
Because we have a completely dishonest media that never gives him a break.
That's not going to change. I got bad news for you. That's not going to change between now and a year from now. And probably the economy is going to get softer rather than stronger.
Are you hoping for that to happen?
As far as the morality is concerned.
Are you hoping for that economy to soften?
Of course not.
You're not? You look very unhappy that this is such an unfair
No, I'm
economy.
thrilled. Now, the fact is.
You're thrilled. There you got it.
3.2% is average of growth since the 1940s.
Oh, really? Is it average for Obama? Give me Obama's average again. Go ahead.
But I'm saying, so he came out of something that was worse in many respects than the Great Depression.
Last 2 years? How about his last 2 years?
The fact of the matter is, you've got a president of the White House who put babies in cages, who paid a porn star. Hold on a second. Okay, he did pay a porn star, and he did have an affair with a Playboy bunny while his wife had a baby, and I'm not quite sure which was happening when. And he bragged about sexual assault.
So you guys,
and people say, well, he got elected.
Comfortable. Okay, so you are comfortable with the Democrats in the role of the new moral majority, which if a conservative got up there and says, I'm the most moral, they would be any conservative would be ridiculed. Mike Pence is ridiculed because he's just a man of faith. They ridiculed him for saying he doesn't want to have meetings with women by himself. They ridiculed him for that.
It's health care, it's climate change. Forget
so
Donald
that's your
Trump
morality.
And women. No,
okay.
But I'm saying some people, and I know you don't agree with where the Democrats are on abortion. And that's a right. Obviously, you have your point of view.
The American people don't agree.
No, actually, people in Virginia by 2-1. People in Virginia, by the poll, by 2-1. Check it out. 65 to 30.
Not infanticide.
No.
First trimester.
They said if the woman's health was in danger, then abortion was.
I do have to say, a former Clinton advisor lecturing us on morality is one of the great ironies of all time, to be perfectly honest. Nevertheless, here's the one thing why Donald Trump is the most moral president in the modern era, because he's done what he said he's going to do. That's the number one way you should gauge morality of a president.
Mexico hasn't paid for the wall.
What is the commitment to your promises? Well, the embassy to Jerusalem, deregulation, Gorsuch.
He's done a lot. He's done a lot more than most.
And you've never seen a president go so out of his way to hold the commitments and the promises to do exactly what the American people.
Isn't that, and that really is, I think, an important way to judge any presidency.
Of course.
Are you trying to do what you said you would do? Obama said he was going to renegotiate all these trade deals with the NAFTA and with China. What the heck did Obama do on any of that? He didn't renegotiate any of these trade deals.
No, that's right.
We bled manufacturing jobs under Obama.
Go to the top three issues: the economy, what's going on with fighting China and trade, and securing the southern border. It's very hard for the Democrats. He's stolen their issues, Laura. It's very hard for them to deal with that.
I want to hold on one second, because I want to remind everybody how the moral arbiters on the left, and again, this is what they say they are now. That's the big message. We're going to restore dignity and morality to the country. How they speak regularly about the president and his supporters.
We're going to impeach the mother.
There's only one way to deal with this problem, whether we impeach him or not, and that is to vote his out of office.
If we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
If you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them.
Those Republican leaders and President Trump don't give a
Okay, so look, politics gets heated. I'm not saying it's this patty cake. It should be. We're all tough people. But those are the people we should look to for our moral guidance. I mean, come on. If Republicans say the similar kinds of things all the time, not one-offs, you guys would be going crazy, right?
You know, Joe Biden, who I can understand why you want to take him down because he now seems to be doing quite well in the polls, beating Trump in Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania by 8 to 10. No, but as Biden says, you know, put me up against not the almighty, but the alternative. And the alternative is a person in the White House who called countries S-hole countries.
Is that why you're going to campaign? Do you think the American people are going to go to the polls because
somebody who's the head of the DNC,
another country?
Joe Biden is running against Donald Trump. And Donald Trump uses those terms from the podium with kids listening. I think that's wrong.
So he's running against 20 other Democrats first. And look, I'll be perfectly honest. This idea that he's the presumptive nominee, I just don't accept that.
I think, Richard, this is and I don't mean to sound uncharitable, because actually Biden as a person, he's fun. I mean, he's like a fun, kind of cool person in a way. I don't agree with his policies. Do you think he's dropped a few steps? I mean, when we get older, everyone drops. But he seems a lot less Biden, and that's saying something. He seems like he's dropped a couple steps.
So it's unclear whether that's measured and kind of something where he basically decided to be slightly different, not kind of cognitively, but just a different persona than he was. And again, you're talking about a president who can't pronounce a word like origins. Right? That's who's in the White House. So you talk about somebody who's lost.
But he hasn't dropped any steps.
I have 2 words, Navy corpsman. All right, I need to get to this. There was a Washington Post headline that sent Democrats and the folks and the other networks tonight into a fit of frenzy. Now, it read the following. Mueller complained that Barr's letter did not capture context of Trump probe. Well, here was just some of the reaction.
I think that Barr should resign. And if he does not resign, he should be facing impeachment proceedings.
An unprecedented, stunning rebuke of the Attorney General of the United States, very severely undermining, in fact, devastating his credibility now in the Department of Justice.
He was trying to cover up, basically, presidential involvement with Russia and possible presidential criminality.
Okay. But deep inside the reporting were 2 lines that the media don't seem to be quoting much tonight. Quote, when Barr pressed him whether he thought Barr's letter was inaccurate, Mueller said he did not, but felt that the media coverage of the letter was misinterpreting the investigation. Now, Matt, Mueller's office made no effort throughout the investigation to battle the laughably wrong coverage of collusion. So this letter is a bit odd to be leaked now, is it not? And he said he didn't want to review the synopsis. He had the option of reviewing the synopsis. He's like, no, it's okay.
Will the real Bob Mueller please stand up? We had to listen to Bob Mueller for 2 years, wait for his report. His report comes out, no wrongdoing. Then the Democrats say, well, actually, we need to see the report because there must be some wrongdoing in there. Now we got Bob Mueller speaking up apparently and saying the Attorney General mischaracterized the report in what singular way? There's no specific.
Richard.
I agree with Matt when he said, will the real Bob Mueller stand up? Yes, have him stand up, put his hand up, live testimony before Congress. That's what will resolve all this. What his beef is with Barr.
Nothing.
What his beef is with Barr.
You think
when Barr said there's no collusion, that was not a term that Mueller assessed. What he said is he could not establish. That was his term.
But in the legal framework, you exist in a binary sense. You can't just be, well, we think he's guilty and we're going to assume it. That's not how it works. You have to have facts and evidence. Yeah. And there was none.
They couldn't establish intent.
They couldn't.
That was the problem. They wanted to interview Trump. They're like, take me to court. They could have taken him to court, Richard. They decided not to.
Mueller
they didn't want
decided to leave it to Congress, and that's where he disagrees with Barr.
Because he doesn't have the goods.
Right. Well, see, he wanted the goods, doesn't have the goods, and Andrew Weissman's crying all the way home with Jeannie Reed. What are they doing tonight?